Hey guys, this is one of the best value parts you can get for your car. And definitely it is not the most expensive. But I'll tell you why it's the best value part you can get for your car. So we're doing a suspension build on my car. And a special suspension company, actually I don't know, they make a lot of different things, but a special company sent me a free coilover setup to test out, but in order to do that, I needed some rear lower control arms because if you remember on my car, it has the ITR, Integra Type R, rear lower control arms, and it's just not compatible with most coilover setups. And so I had to buy this piece, even though the stuff on my car works as it is already and is perfectly fine. And I chose this piece, and this piece is actually the rear lower control arm setup from ASR. ASR, okay? The company ASR A-Spec Racing. This is about, I think I paid $230 for it. $230. Can you believe that? For something that I kind of, sorta didn't really need. But, and I told you at the beginning of the video, this is the best value part you can get for your car, but it is probably one of the most expensive. So how does that make sense? Well, ladies and gentlemen, I say this is the best value part because it is the nicest part you can get. Okay, ASR, they do all their machining in-house. Okay, you could check their videos. They have all the machining that they do. They machine this out of a single block of aluminum. It's 6061 aluminum, and that's a common alloy, aluminum alloy that a lot of manufacturers use. When I get some parts made for my company, Ropes Design, I always choose 6061 aluminum. It's just a solid choice in terms of its material properties. It's easy to machine, it's forgiving, which makes it easy to machine, and it's a good part, it's a good material. It's a solid all-round good material. The other aluminum alloys are, they might be stronger, but they also could be more brittle and a little bit hard to machine because of that. So this is 6061 aluminum. Right here it says made in the USA. This part is made in the USA. And one thing about companies, and I know Hasport is a company like this, ASR right here. If you do all your machining in-house and you do all of your designing in-house, you have like very specific control over your product. And to me, that is a huge value because when you send out a product to get made, there's discrepancies between your manufacturer and your design team. Your design team wants it a certain way. The manufacturer says, hey, we can't make it like that because we don't have the tooling or the processes or this and that. And so when these processes are coming from the same place, the machining and the designing, you just have, this is pretty much exactly what the company envisioned. There's no, I believe there's no compromises. They said, hey, we want it like this, boom, done, okay? So you're cutting out a lot of different parties for this. And I had trouble with this myself when I designed some parts and I send them out to get machined. They come back and or the machinist says, hey, we can't do it like this, so I have to go somewhere else and they can do it, okay? And in my head I'm like, why couldn't the original machinist do it? Because they just didn't want to, or it's too expensive, or they didn't have the tooling. So anyway, a little bit of rant, but this is a lower control arm, expensive one. $230 shipped to my door with tax, $230, but it's probably one of the nicest things that my car will have on it. Okay, this is a very brilliant piece. And so why is it a good value? So I told you it's because this company, ASR, who made this, along with whatever other company does the same style of manufacturing, in-house design, in-house manufacturing, they have control over every single aspect of it. And so you know that it's exactly what the manufacturer or the creator of the part envisioned. Okay, it's an artistic expression of the company. It's not a part where they ordered, and you could do this. Go on Alibaba, go search up. Let's say, for example, rear lower control arm, and you're gonna see a design that at least 3 or 4 or 5 different companies have the same exact design, and the company will just release different colors and then maybe etch their name in it and slap it in a box, and hey, you're getting brand X, you're getting brand Y, you're getting brand Z. When in reality, it's all the same part, just different colors with a different name slapped on it. And that's totally fine. That's totally fine. But again, to me, I want a unique piece and a one-of-a-kind piece. And the one-of-a-kind piece I want is the one from A-Spec Racing. This is an artistic expression of A-Spec Racing. And as somebody who is I'm in the business, I'm not as big as A-Spec Racing. As somebody who does this, you can see some of my parts back here. That is impressive. Okay, very impressive, and I respect that very much. And so that's why I got these. And so let's take a look at these up close. These, first of all, actually, before we take a look up close to see what else is in the box. Okay, it came packaged up nicely. Here's the box. I already unboxed it. I say I unbox things, but you gotta look through before you take it out. What happens if there's like a jack in the box in there or something? So here's the box. It comes shipped. Hopefully you see my address. It comes shipped in this box, protected very well. The other arm is wrapped up fairly nicely in here. There's a few machining defects that I did notice. Okay, there are a few, and it seems to be like, there's in the same area. So if you look at both of these arms right here, there's a machining defect in these holes right here, okay? And it's not a huge one, it's a cosmetic one. And, if I were to critique it, I would say, to me, something like that would be unacceptable. But I wouldn't scrap the entire part because of a machining defect. It would just be something that the consumer would have to accept. And so I accept it because I understand. But to me, that is unacceptable. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? It shouldn't have happened. Should have machined it better. But again, look at this part. We're talking about, I don't even know. I didn't even count, okay? But what happens is most of the different aspects of this design requires a tool change or a different tool or a different operation. There's different ways. Like for example, to hollow out this area right there, you need a special tool, okay? And in order to get that special tool, you need to do a tooling change. In order to etch out this ASR logo right there, again, that's a different, you could tell, okay? It's a different looking part on the entire part, which means that it requires a special tool, which means that you need to do a tooling change. This little chamfer, we call this a chamfer right there. I don't know how many degrees. It's a chamfer. It's basically a diagonal part in the diagonal cut in the part. That requires a special tool, which means that requires a tooling change. And so what you have here is a complicated part, very complicated part to machine, with many different tools required, many different tooling changes required. And so if I'm looking at the entire thing, it is borderline flawless, except for these little nicks in, you know, certain parts of it. And so you wouldn't scrap a part because you have a nick, a cosmetic nick in here, because it's a complicated part to machine, and I suppose there's some kind of acceptable tolerances. One interesting thing that I did notice about this, and I don't know if it's because, and this is like very specific nuances and critiques, but you're a smart audience, and so I like to show you. But in this, there are sections of it that have a fillet. A fillet is a rounded edge, and there are sections of it that I think that they couldn't fillet, and that they decided to chamfer instead. A chamfer is a 45 degree edge, or 45 degree cut. And I think it looks artistically, because we're talking about this piece in terms of its artistic and aesthetic values. Aesthetically and artistically, it is strange. It's like, dude, you just make it flow a little better. You know, the little extra mile that someone needs to go to do this, just make it flow. You know what I'm saying? If don't go into it, like right here you see like a little hard edge, that's uncut, that's unchamfered, that's unfilleted. Then, you know, it's just weird things that I think they just should have got right before they manufacture the parts. And if you can't get it right, then you have to kind of design around it. But technically, there probably would have been some challenges that they needed to overcome, that it was just like, hey man, let's just knock it out, boom, boom, boom. Maybe people will notice it, but in the long run, it doesn't really matter, because it's a part that goes underneath the car. It's a part that's going to get smacked by rocks and the elements, and maybe the consumer, they don't care. You know what I'm saying? So, and I doesn't affect anything. The functionality, maybe if they changed it, it would have affected the integrity. Probably, I don't know. Not by much, probably, but you know. But I noticed the ASR. But amazing part. I love this. So what you have here, and another reason why I bought this part is because the sway bar, even though I don't have a sway bar yet, I'm gonna get one, and I'm gonna get one from ASR too, along with their reinforcement kit. If you could see here, the sway bar mounts on the bottom side of the lower control arm. And if you watch the A-Spec racing videos, they say it gives a better geometry for the sway bar if it mounts down here on these holes. So usually other control arms, if you look online, they mount somewhere up here. I'd say maybe 3/4 of an inch above where these are located. And I noted, and I had some True Heart, which is a good brand, but it's also, I don't know if they did the same level of engineering into their geometry of their arms, but good arms, good bushings, okay? I think they use hard race bushings according to the website. They look the same, okay? But, and I think hard race is good, supposedly, right? I don't know. I haven't ran them long enough to know, okay? Or I haven't talked to the company enough to know. But anyway, I think all of their manufacturers, and don't quote me on that, but most other ones, they run the holes at the middle, like about 3/4 of an inch above these ones. And so ASR decided to run it down here, and I want to see what the big deal is, pretty much. And I did notice when I ran the True Heart lower control arms that it did put the sway bar end link at a strange angle. And so I want to try these. Your life is short, you know what I'm saying? To give you an example, the True Heart lower control arms are $130. Okay, so $100 cheaper, and from like eBay or something like that. $100 cheaper than these ones, but I had to give these a go, man. One thing I'm unsure about these, and I won't know until I install it, and I won't even know once I install it because the whole setup is changing. I'm changing my coilovers at the same time I'm changing the arms, so I have no idea what the isolated effect of these bushings are. So what these are is this is a polyurethane bushing from Energy Suspension, and like I was mentioning before, the benefit of doing your manufacturing and design in-house is you can get as innovative and creative as you want with your product, which lends to the value, the huge value that you're getting with this part. You're getting essentially a part that is nothing like any of the other parts out there for about $100 more, which in my opinion, if you're putting this on your car and you're giving it through miles and track use and canyon use, is freaking worth it. $100 for an innovative part that is nothing like nothing else, and design, like I said, designed to the manufacturer specifications. Whatever they wanted, whenever they came out of their brain, whatever Energy Suspension was willing to do with them, for them, like make them, I don't know if these are custom or not, maybe they're off the shelf, I don't know, I really don't know. If you know, in ASR, if you know, post it in the comments or something like that. But what their in-house manufacturing allows them to do is to create custom bushings to utilize custom bushing sleeves to utilize bushings in a very innovative fashion. Okay, so most of the stuff out there is cheap bushings, and they'll reuse the same bushing across everything. So all the manufacturers, hey, everybody gets this bushing. Boom. Okay. Hard Race has these hard rubber bushings. I believe it's about the same hardness as these bushings right here. They should be relatively about the same. But again, someone manufactures a bushing, Hard Race uses it, True Heart uses it. You get what I'm saying? This design, only ASR uses it. And it's not because the bushing manufacturer went out of their way to build them a new bushing, which would add to increased costs for ASR. All ASR did was, hey, let's just take whatever bushing, this probably already existed. I can't imagine they made a whole new bushing for these control arms, because you can't sell enough of these to recoup on costs. You know what I'm saying? There's no way. I don't know. If you know, tell me. Okay, but I imagine they didn't. Of course, they wouldn't tell publicly. These are kind of things that you kind of understand. So what they did was they designed a custom bushing sleeve to use these bushings in an innovative way. Okay, and so you plop them in, boom. Okay, you grease them up. They have grooves where you can grease them up. You insert them into the bushing sleeve, and they go in. So it's not like rocket science, but it allowed. I'm not going to try to do this right now. We're not going to do this. Okay, it goes in something like that. So it's not rocket science, but they are not reinventing wheel. They're reinventing a wheel with like cool tread on it. You know what I'm saying? So it's just an innovative way to produce something to improve ever so marginally on a design that already works, if that makes sense. So they just made a cool ass product that's different from whatever exists, and that is, to me, really cool, because it's not about making something groundbreaking all the time. It's putting your little spin on it, and that's what gives something its value, because everything has character. You know, brand X. Oh, they use a blue, their color is blue, and they use a rubber bushing. Okay, this brand has serial numbers on their stuff. Okay, wow, I like that. Or this brand, they use gunmetal. I like their stuff. Or this brand, they use a green. I like their stuff. Well, ASR, I like their stuff because they put their end-link connections down here. They CNC all their own stuff, made in the USA, and they made their own bushing and sleeve system. Okay, well, that's the review. I don't know how complicated these things can get. So that I'll leave it at that. I review these things before I put on the car. So the next video, I'm going to review the coilovers that this special company sent me. And this special company is not like renowned. And so, but they do have surprising reviews on YouTube. So I want to check them out. You know, I'm open-minded. I'm not a closed-minded person. So I want to check it out. So ASR, A-Spec Racing, lower control arms for 92 to 95 Civic and 94 to 2001 Integra, which is, by the way, the best chassis. The best chassis. Better than U.K. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm not kidding, but don't take it personal. But yeah, so yeah, thank you for tuning in. Peace.